Let's hear it again for Justin Huertas. So yesterday was Earth Day, and over 600 cities worldwide participated in the event, including Seattle. How many of you marched yesterday? Yeah? So Earth Day was actually started as a response to an oil spill that happened in Santa Barbara in 1970. Senator Gaylord Nelson was horrified by what he saw. He was a senator from Wisconsin visiting Santa Barbara. And if you remember, for those who were around in the 70s was an era of gas-guzzling cars, air pollution, water pollution. I remember my parents, for some reason, always bought a Chrysler. And we had a 65 Chrysler and then later a 71, and that thing was as big as a tank. I mean, it was huge, and parking it was quite a feat, and I became quite proficient at driving this giant Chrysler around. Earth Day also had its roots in the book The Silent Spring by Rachel Carson, which was written in 1962. And that was a book that she wrote because the use of pesticides was still kind of new, and she noticed that it not only was killing the bugs, but it was killing the birds. And that if we continued down this road, we would have a silent spring, for we would not have the birds returning. I think Earth Day also came out of this idea of finally being able to see a picture of the Earth from space, right? I mean, that changed everything. It was like once we were able to see the planet from a distance, it awoke something in us, didn't it? It awoke our souls. It awoke something in us that we realized that this is a living, breathing being that we need to care for. And so Earth Day is a celebration that was, especially the first one. The first one was attended by 20 million Americans, and the reason that it was chosen, the date April 22nd, is because it fell between final exams and spring break. So they figure everybody could get out there and everybody could participate. So the first one was 20 million Americans took to the streets, groups that had been fighting against oil spills, polluting factories, power plants, raw sewage, toxic dumps, pesticides, freeways, the loss of wilderness, and the extinction of wildlife suddenly realized that they shared common values. And from this, there was an awakening that happened. In 1990, the Earth Day sort of started to go global even before then, and 200 million people participated. So it went from 20 million in 1970 to 200 million in 1990, and now it's supposedly celebrated by 1 billion people worldwide, that it is the one non-secular event that the entire world participates in. Earth Day 1970 achieved a rare political alignment supported by rich and poor, city people and farmers, and by the end of that year, the first Earth Day had led to the creation of the United States Environmental Protection Agency and the passage of the Clean Air, Water, and Endangered Species Act. So it's amazing, really. And that one person, right? One person is horrified by something that happened, and then everything began to move forward. So yesterday, Earth Day took on a new dimension because it became a march for science, right? And again, it was participated in all around the world where people were marching on behalf of science. And as I was looking at this, to me, the person who summed it up the best was the astrophysicist Neil deGrasse Tyson, right? You know that guy? He's the one who says Pluto's not a planet anymore. So when I was in Los Angeles with my son and we went to the observatory, they have this whole downstairs area with the planets, and they've got the sun, and they go off, and they're all hanging off of this long pole, each planet, as you walk, and then we get to the end and Pluto was missing. It was just like, everybody's like, oh, poor Pluto, he's gone. But anyway. So this is what Neil deGrasse Tyson had to say. He says, we were kind of a backwater country, really, when you think about it. We're a backwater country. And he said, yet, we pioneered industries, and all of this required the greatest innovations in science and technology in the world. And so science is a fundamental part of the country that we are. You have a hypothesis, and you test it. I get a result. An rival of mine double checks it because they think I might be wrong. They perform an even better experiment than I did, and they say, hey, this experiment matches, so we're onto something here. And out of this arises a new emergent truth. You say it again. And out of this arises a new emergent truth. And it does it better than anything else that we have ever come up with as human beings. This is science, and it's not something to toy with. I may choose not to believe in E equals MC square, but you know what? You don't really have that option. When you have an established scientific emergent truth, it is true, whether or not you believe in it. And the sooner you understand that, the sooner we can get on with the political conversation about how to solve all the problems that face us. Amen. Amen. And every minute one is in denial, you are delaying the political solution that should have been established years ago. Recognize what science is and allow it to be what it can and should be in the service of civilization. He is so poetic. He's just amazing the way he speaks. So I want to speak to this emergent truth. He describes it so perfectly that you have a hypothesis, you test it, someone else tests it, and then we have this new emergent truth. And when I think about what Jesus said about the kingdom of heaven and the kingdom of God, what did he say? That it's an expansion of consciousness, right? He said the kingdom of heaven is like leaven in bread. It expands. The kingdom of heaven is like a mustard seed. It's the smallest of seeds, it's the smallest of trees, and then it grows into this big bush. So Jesus' main message, really, other than love your neighbor, that was the big one too, but the other one was about this expansion of consciousness, about the kingdom of heaven coming to earth. And the word for heaven is Uranus, which is again, it's this expansion. So I see this emergent truth in this way. So science is a tool that we can use to expand our knowledge and our conscious awareness. And the truth is, we can't go back, right? I mean, once you know something, even in our own personal lives, we may try to forget for a while, but the truth is we can't go back. We need to keep going forward. So how did we get here? How did we get to this, the pollution and the global warming? How did we get to all this? Well, I think its roots really can be found in Genesis. And if we read Genesis 1:26, all of Genesis, is the creation of the world. But in 1:26, then God said, let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the birds of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creeps upon the earth. That you shall have dominion over the earth. And I think we've kind of taken that statement and taken that verse and run rampant with it, right? It's like everything is here for my use. I have dominion over everything. I have dominion over the earth and of all the animals and of everything. It's mine. And it's like the Disney song that you sang from Pocahontas, right? You think you own whatever land you stand on. And that's that consciousness that is supported by that. So it's kind of been an excuse to abuse the planet rather than to care for her. Because the truth is, we are made of the earth, right? Yeah, we have come out of the earth, and to the earth we shall return. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. We come and we return. But the truth is, we are also spirit. Spirit breathes through us. So we are of the sky and the stars, and we are of the earth. But guess what? We're not the only ones who are of both. So are the birds, and so are the trees, and so is your dog. All of life is a combination of this spirit and of this earth. And so when we saw the planet for the first time from a distance, it was like, whoa, It looks like it's breathing. It looks like it's alive. Surprise, it is. And it's something that native cultures, of course, have known forever. But in our quest of industrialization, we have kind of gotten lost with that. I love what Matthew Fox said, the Catholic priest. He said, Stardust now evolved to the place that the Stardust can think about itself. We are the universe becoming conscious of itself. We are stardust that has begun to contemplate the stars. We have arisen out of the dynamics of the earth. 4 billion years ago, our planet was molten rock, and now it sings opera. This is good news. So we go again to an emergent truth. We go again to the expansion of consciousness and the kingdom of heaven, which is always evolving. So how are we different from the animals? How are you different from your dog, right? I mean, okay, we have speech, and some would say that other species also have speech, like whales and dolphins, yes. We also know we're going to die. We also can reflect, and unlike our dogs, like I can pretend to be my dog, although I think my dog emotionally knows what I'm feeling. So we're in a different position. And so if we go back to that having dominion, rather than having dominion, maybe the view of it is rather empowerment, or not ownership, that's the wrong word as well, but there's this caring that we have being human, right? And so what if every single one of us was an earth angel? Because I think that's what you are. I think every single one of us here is an earth angel. We are of the earth, and we are of the sky, we are of the stars, we are of the spirit, and you're an earth angel. So how does an earth angel act? How are you different if you realize, hey, you know what? I'm an earth angel here. So of course I Googled earth angels. And there's a website called The Power of Positivity. And it actually had 6 attributes of earth angels. So I'm just going to kind of share some of them because I read them and I went, they kind of have something here. So one of the first attributes of an earth angel, or to know that you're an earth angel, is high sensitivity. And that is that feeling what other people are feeling and being very sensitive to, violence, and being sensitive to the news and being affected by it, sometimes at great cost. Yeah? So there's a sensitivity. Anybody very sensitive in this room? Yeah. The second is that earth angels need time alone. And because there is this great sensitivity, there is this need to recharge one's batteries, to be alone, to know who you are, and also to just kind of work through some deep stuff. It's not a superficial kind of living. Intuition goes along with that, yeah? Number 3 is caring deeply. So seeing someone suffering, seeing someone in pain, and not being an enabler, but not being able to not do anything about it on some level. I appreciate Mike and Diane and all those that serve on the outreach team, because they've been doing it for decades now, and just reaching out to help, whether it be those who are in need or our friends or our family, by offering kindness and support. Number 4 is a called to purpose. You don't relate to worldly desires and a structured path. You don't like programmed, conditioned society, and you've never been compelled to fall in someone else's footsteps. You want to mark your own way, live by your own rules, and do something that others wouldn't consider to be normal, right? What is it I heard? Normal is somebody you don't know very well. And finally, the last one is to reject modern ideals. In other words, to kind of go along with the crowd. It's like, this is conventional wisdom. Earth angels are kind of like, you know what? I think that there's another way to be. Earth angels have realized that we cannot continue to live in a state of separation and isolation, and we need each other to survive. So I want you to put on your Earth angel hat and just sit with that for a moment. What do you look like? What do you feel like? Who are you as an Earth angel? Are you different in any way? And know that this is an archetype that is in you that can be activated at any time. So you're sensitive, you're intuitive. You're following your own path. And so as an earth angel, recognize that you have a great power to bless. And you have a great power to effect change. Really, the senator from Wisconsin, Gaylord Nelson, is an earth angel. He changed things by invoking Earth Day. So I'd like for us to participate in a blessing of the earth. And you've heard this prayer before because we actually use it in wedding ceremonies. But this is going to be for the earth, which is actually what it's meant to be. And it's a Chinook blessing. And I'm going to say the verses, but what I'd like you to say is teach us and show us the way. So try that. Teach us and show us the way. All right, but first you got to put on your earth angel hat 100%. So if you are able, I would invite you to stand. And recognize that as we do this, we are blessing the earth. We call upon the earth, our planet home, with its beautiful depths and soaring heights, its vitality and abundance of life. And together we ask that it teach us, show us the way. We call upon the mountains, the Cascades and the Olympics, the high green valleys and meadows filled with wildflowers, the snows that never melt, the summits of intense silence, and we ask that they teach us and show us the way. And let's just take a moment of silence and really feel those mountains talking to you. We call upon the waters that rim the earth, horizon to horizon, that flow in our rivers and streams, that fall upon our gardens and fields, and we ask that they teach us and show us the way. We call upon the land which grows our food, the nurturing soil, the fertile fields, the abundant gardens and orchards. We ask that they teach us. We call upon the forests, the great trees reaching strongly to the sky with earth in their roots and heaven in their branches, the fir and the pine and the cedar, and we ask them, teach us and show us the way. We call upon the creatures of the fields and forests and the seas, our brothers and sisters, the wolves and deer, the eagle and dove, the great whales and the dolphin, the beautiful orca and salmon who share our northwest home, and we ask them to teach us and show us the way. And we call upon all those who have lived on this earth, our ancestors and our friends, who dream the best for future generations and upon whose lives our lives are built. And with thanksgiving, we call upon them. And lastly, we call upon all that we hold most sacred, the presence and power of the great Spirit of love and truth, which flows through all the universe, to be with us, to teach us and show us the way. Thank you. You may be seated. Did you feel like you blessed the earth? Again, you're an earth angel and you have that power. I used to have a teacher who'd say, when you walk down the road, just go blessing to the earth, blessing to the earth, blessing to the earth. Put it in the dirt. The truth is, there's an emergent truth that we are witnessing in humankind. We talk about the awakening of humanity, about the evolution in our consciousness. And I think if we look at 1970 Earth Day and 20 million people, and we look at 2017 Earth Day and like 1 billion people around the world, I think we can see visibly, even scientifically, that there is this consciousness that is expanding. We have seen this beautiful, breathing, blue planet, and we can't go back. We can't pretend that we never saw it. We can't pretend that we know what we know, that she is our mother. And again, so what began in 1970 has taken root and grown. And may it, especially in these times, may it continue to grow and expand so that 40 years from now, when we look back at it, it'll be like, wow, and I was there for part of that. So as we go forth, do so with the recognition that we are of the earth and the sky, we are of the earth and the stars, the embodiments of earth angels in life today. Thank you.